Welcome. We're so glad you could join us today. We often get asked, what is Safe Families? How can I get involved? So we thought we would join together today to answer some of those frequently asked questions.
We even brought in some experts, parents that have been served and are now serving families in need.
Our hope is that you will get all of your questions answered and understand better how you can join the movement that is Safe Families for Children.
To me, Safe Families is a really great organization that helps, people that just need that support. And it's just an overwhelming amount of love given to children and parents.
Safe Families is a program that helps families stay together. It's like a bonus family, if you will, because some people don't have that extra support. So instead of the kids getting neglected and abused, they go to a family who helps them and get returned right back.
Safe Families started in 2003 in Chicago and started in 2011 in Wisconsin and has expanded across the whole state. The objective of Safe Families is to surround families that are experiencing social isolation with family-like support to prevent abuse and neglect so that we can walk alongside and strengthen families before it gets to that point.
Parents get very overwhelmed with mental health and they do lead themselves to a very dark place, and that could lead to children getting neglected and not taken care of the way they need, and potentially that would end up with, the state involved in CPS, and we don't want that. We want families to stay together.
Safe Families has three main core values. The first is radical hospitality. Second is disruptive generosity. And the third is intentional compassion. We are motivated by our faith. All of our core values are rooted in biblical truth. We recruit a lot of our volunteers from churches. We just want to serve people and love people because we were first loved by God.
One of the things I heard about Safe Families was they were a faith-motivated organization, and I was curious if I was going to be pressured into coming back to my faith quicker than I felt comfortable. My faith was never pushed, but I was kind of brought back with my faith through the organization and through Safe Families. It kind of drawed me back in.
One of the unique features of Safe Families is our Circle of Support model. We work to create a network of volunteers around each family served. In this way, both the families and volunteers are well supported and no one is serving in isolation. When a parent is matched with a host family or a family friend, the ministry lead of the volunteers' church is notified and can be there to give needed support and to activate resource friends. A family coach is also assigned to help with goal setting and to facilitate the relationship.
In my circle of support, I had my family friend, Miss Julie, who was also my family host, who my kids would go to. And then I have my family coach, Miss Diane, who was there through everything, helping me, even if it was simple potty training advice, who's just there in my corner, checking on me, making sure that I was okay.
The circle of support for me was kind of, I want to say, awesome in a way. I had a really good family coach. She was great. And the ministry lead met with me a couple times, to pray a little bit. And I also had a family friend that kind of just made everything in life feel easier.
As we introduce Safe Families to new areas, we often get a lot of the same questions. So we thought we'd answer some of those frequently asked questions today. My first one is, I really want to become a host family, but I don't have a spare bedroom. Can I still host?
Absolutely. You don't need a spare bedroom. However, we can use a pack and play if it's an infant or an air mattress or anything like that because it's just temporary. A question that I get asked all the time by so many people is, what if I work full time?
Yeah, totally great. That's why we have that Circle of Support model. So we want you, as a need is put out, to tell us, what can you do? Can you host kids nights and weekends, but you work during the day? Might work great if the kids are in school full time and they have aftercare. We can work it around your schedule. Or we can plug in another volunteer that could watch them just during the day so that you can still work. We can find ways to support you and the families in pretty much any scenario. So we often have large families that come to us for help. Do you only put siblings together in the same host family?
That's a great question. We do our very best to keep siblings together. However, it depends on our volunteer pool, and it also depends on the parents' preferences.
Can you tell me a little bit about how volunteers get approved to be Safe Families volunteers?
Yeah, so the first step is to apply online. And then we have our volunteer coordinator who reaches out to you. You provide 3 references. We have background checks that our volunteers go through to get approved. We also do an assessment where we ask questions and get to know you and hear your preferences of how you want to serve. And we provide training for all of our volunteers to equip you. And we also do a home study just to make sure your home is safe. Our mission is to keep children safe and families together. So we just want to make sure that children are in safe homes. Another question I get asked is, how do I get supplies that I would need if I'm hosting?
Yeah, we do not want hosting to be a financial burden for anyone. So we make sure that we support you with resource friends. We put out to all of our volunteers if there are pools. A lot of our areas also have resource closets so that they have diapers, wipes, pack and plays. When you're getting approved and we do that home safety check, we'll ask you, what do you already have and what do you think you'd need in case of a hosting? And then we make sure that we can support and supply all of those physical resources you'll need.
So once I'm approved, what does the matching process look like?
Yeah, so we always say Safe Families is voluntary for both the parents who are seeking help and for the volunteers. So we put out our needs either by email or text to the volunteers. A lot of times we try and do it by geographic location so that we can match people who are close to the people who are in need. Once a volunteer steps up, we send out an initial email that introduces the volunteer to the families and pulls in the ministry lead, the coaches, and then the relationship is off and running.
We are so glad that you joined us today, and we realize that that might have raised more questions. So if you have any other questions, we would love for you to reach out to us.
We're going to put the contact information on the next slide. Thanks so much for joining us and spending a little bit of time with Safe Families. We hope to see more of you in the future.